All right, today we're going to take a look at surface area and volume of spheres. And of course, all of these formulas are on your formula sheet that you will be provided, so never fear on that. Spheres, of course, one of the easiest shapes. A couple little warm-up problems, though. We've used these a little bit in some of our half PA formulas. So I just thought, hey, for some of the shortcuts, let's just review our special right triangles and how we can do these, of course, with very little work. So 45, 45, 90. Remember, two congruent sides, two congruent angles, all about 2. This time they gave you the hypotenuse. So to get the sides, we have to divide by square root of 2. Then, of course, I have to rationalize. So we end up with 7 square roots of 2 over 2. So that's going to be both of our sides, x and y, as they are congruent. Got it. All right, 30, 60, 90 for number 2 here. I'm just going to fill in the 60. So opposite the 30 is 5, so that's our short side. It's always nice when they give you the short side because I really don't hardly have to do anything. To get my long side, y, I just take the short and put a square root of 3 on it. Done and done. To get the hypotenuse, I take the short side and I times it by 2. So very little work to do there, which is kind of nice. All right, number 3, another 30, 60, 90. But this time they give you the side opposite the 60, the long side. So for us to get the short side, because it's all about the short side, I'm going to have to take 6 and divide it by square root of 3. I have to go backwards, obviously, and rationalize. So I have 6 square roots of 3 over 3, and then I'm going to reduce 6 over 3. I'm going to make that 2. So I'm just going to fill it in on my triangle here, 2 square roots of 3. So there's my short side. I'm just going to double that now to get the hypotenuse. So if I double 2 square roots of 3, we have 4 square roots of 3. There we go. All right, let's actually get into our sphere conversation. We're going to do both surface area and volumes today. Very, very simple. We're going to talk about a hemisphere also at the very end. So a few things to fill in on the note sheet. A sphere is the set of all points in space equidistant from a given point. This point is called the center of the sphere. A radius of a sphere is a segment from the center. A chord of a sphere is a segment whose endpoints are on the sphere. Very similar to our discussions of circles. A diameter of a sphere is a chord that contains the center. So really nothing too exciting here. We all know what a radius is from the center to the edge, of course. The center C there in the middle. And on the second picture, you can see an example of the chord, a segment whose endpoints are on the edge. And of course, diameter goes right through the center. And it's a special type of a chord, a segment that goes through the center. All same vocab that we know from a circle. We are just applying it to the 3-dimensional version, sphere. Now, surface area of a sphere, very simple. 4 pi r squared. This is on your formula sheet, of course. R stands for the radius. So if they give you a diameter, you're going to have to cut it in half to get your radius. Okay, find the surface area of the sphere. So we're just going to do 4 pi r squared. And I'll give you the radius as 8. It's nothing exciting from there. Just quickly, I'm not going to do every single one, but I'm just going to show you, of course, how to punch this in your calculator. I'm literally typing in 4. I actually try to use the pi key so it's as accurate as possible, and then 8 squared. Doesn't tell us what to round to, so I'm just going to go to the 10th. I'm going to put 804.2 for that. And I'm going to, of course, put a label on it, inches. That is exciting as surface area gets, my friends. All right, let's take a look at the next one. The surface area, so this time they're telling you what the surface area is. They want the diameter. Okay, so just quickly, I'm just going to jot down our formula so it's in front of us. So this time surface area is 20.25 pi. So I'm going to put that in for the S. I still have my 4, my pi, and the r squared. So we're going to go through and solve for the radius. So I'm first going to divide off the 4 and the pi. And I'm going to do that, of course, to both sides. So the pi's cancel, the 4's cancel. Pi's cancel on the left. So in my calculator, I did 20.25 divided by 4. And I got 5.0625. So last thing I have to do to get my radius, of course, get rid of the squaring with the square root. So then I typed in the calculator the square root of 5.0625. I'm just going to do that quick, of course, to show you. I'm sure you know how to type that in. 5. And if you rounded it to like 5.1, clearly that's fine. So I have R is 2.25. Now, the question is, notice I circled it, underlined it. I'm going to circle it now in red, diameter. If the radius is 2.25, to get the diameter, we're going to have to double the radius. So 2.25 times 2 is 4.5. Letter D. So make sure that you double that if you need a diameter. Just read close, obviously. Okay, diameter of a sphere is 40 feet. So right away, I know the radius would be 20. Find the surface area. Okay, well, pretty piece of cake. 4 pi r, I'm using the 20, squared. And just simply type that right in your calculator. You've already seen me do that. I'm not going to show you again. And let's put a label, feet squared. Too simple, my friends. Okay, I'm just going to scroll it down just a little bit so I have a little more room here. Surface area of a sphere is 30 pi. So this is like that second one we did. I'm going to put that in for the area. Find the radius of the sphere. 4 pi r squared, our formula. So just like before, I'm going to divide off the 4 and the pi to get the r by itself. That's what we're working on. 4 is gone, pi is gone. Pi's are out on the left. So I did 30 divided by 4, of course. It's about 7.5. And last but not least, we all know by now to get rid of squaring, you need a square root. So the square root is 7.5. Just type that in your calculator, and you end up with about 2.7. And I'm just going to put a label, meters. All right, almost done. Last thing I have for you, volume of a sphere. So again, this will be on a formula sheet for you. 4/3 pi r cubed this time. So very simple, just punching it in the calculator. I'll show you one, of course. So the soccer ball has a diameter of 9. So right away I'm like, okay, radius is half of that. Before I get carried away, find its volume. All right, let's write down our volume formula. 4/3 pi r cubed. And I'm literally typing that into my calculator. Now, if you don't like typing fractions in your calculator, just to show you, the other way you could do it, you could do your 4 pi r cubed, get that, and divide the whole thing by 3. That would be the exact same thing. But I'm just going to type it in just as it appears, just to show you. So I'm going to put in parentheses 4/3, there it is, and then my pi, got it, and now my r cubed. And I'm just going to hit enter. It doesn't tell us what to round to. I'm going to go to the 10th. Let's say 381.7. I'm going to put a label on it. Volume, remember, cubed. Inches cubed. Got it. All right, last problem of the day. So we're going to have kind of a little combination here. A solid consists of a hemisphere. So that's half of a sphere. So I'm going to do my sphere formula, and at the end I'll just cut it in half. And then they also talk about a cone has the same radius, height of 5. Find the volume of the solid. So you have two different parts of this figure, so to speak. We have the hemisphere, so we're going to start with that. So let's start with that formula. So volume, I'm going to use my volume formula that we just did. And it tells you, of course, that the radius is 1. So I'm going to put times 1 cubed. Okay, if you punch that in your calculator, which I clearly did earlier, you get 4.2. Now that's the entire sphere. We need hemisphere, half of it. So I'm just going to now do half of 4.2, which is 2.1. So that's the volume. And yes, it should have a label. I'm going to label at the very end. That's the volume of the hemisphere. Now I'm going to worry about the cone. So this is on your yellow formula sheet. Volume of a cone, 1/3 pi r squared. Let me write it here. 1/3 pi r squared h. Got it. So that formula is, like I said, it's on your formula sheet under cone. So 1/3, I'm going to do the math here. Radius still 1, and it tells you for the cone, your height is 5. So I typed that into my calculator, and you get about 5.2. Now, what's the overall volume of the figure? Well, the figure is the hemisphere combined with the cone, so it's the two added together. So I'm going to put 7.3, and now I'm going to go ahead and put a label on it. Meters cubed. Got it. That's as wild as it gets, my friends. Enjoy your worksheet. Ignore this. Have a great day.